Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 579, coming to you from somewhere, nowhere, London, and I am with the one and only Mo from Tron Energy. How are you doing today, Mo?
Yeah, good, thank you. I can't believe it's taken you 578 times before you invited me onto the show, so I'm pretty disappointed.
I remember I thought I invited you around episode 400 when we first met.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, you got me there.
So I guess it took me 178 times of bugging you every day.
Kind of caught me off guard today.
That's right. I just said we're doing this. But no, here in London for DAS, which is the Digital Asset Summit hosted by Blockworks, an amazing conference, more geared towards the institutional side. We had Grayscale, BlackRock, Deutsche Bank, Anchorage Digital, Fidelity, and
the flight alarm again.
It's because I'm so hot.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Oh my God, that's just so annoying. I feel so bad for everyone.
Yeah.
They're censoring us.
If you have to leave in a minute, it's because the building's on fire.
I've been with you. You're my alibi.
Yeah, you're my alibi.
I don't know. Is this because we've been sitting here for too long?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man.
It's because we only bought one coffee. We should have bought two. So I've come down to London today to see Taco, because we met before in Spain, and we had such a great connection. And I thought, he's come to England, he's come all this way, so I'm going to make the effort. I'm going to come down. So I've come down from Bournemouth today. That's the big city of London. To see my friend Taco.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It was good, and we got to go eat some amazing food. We were talking earlier about DAS, and just DAS was more institutional, not necessarily for the everyday person and stuff like that. And it sucks because like towards the end, tickets were £2,000.
£2,000. It's put it into perspective. My car that I currently drive costs me about £1,800. Yeah, not into cars, and it is a piece of shit, but it's still a considerable amount of money. So that does really reflect the type of clientele that you're going to get there. So you're looking at corporate clients who have got the kind of budget to attend these things and it not damage them or be concerned about it, like you sort of alluded to before.
But not only that, but like it's also one of those things to where demand. And so like when Blockworks first puts out the ticket, they start them at $199. And then it goes up significantly from there, like every few months. And they do it, it's like, first come, first serve type of thing.
I suppose it is a way of keeping their clientele or the type of people they want to attend, keeping the theme,
people that are excited about it, and and we see that in crypto as well and stuff, but we had, like, if you look at the caliber of who was speaking from both the hedge fund side, the VC side,
they even had a VC event, which would allow founders to go and then sort of pitch to a panel, like you guys call it Shark Tank, we call it anyway, but it's similar to that. So the Chainlink founder was there as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. So I went to a side event, had the founder of Aave Labs, Stani, and founder of Chainlink, Sergey, private panel event, and even that was held in a swanky location, but it was geared towards like the biggest supporters and like the big movers and shakers, because what they're really talking about here isn't necessarily about the builder DeFi level. This is about making room for the institutions.
If they actually invited me, but I was busy, so obviously you invited me here, so I came here.
Yeah. And it's I'm glad. I feel touched. But
it's a whole different level. Like you said, there is the difference between the builder community and what some of these guys are doing, especially when we consider the Wall Street caliber of institutions, which are companies that have been going for literally hundreds of years, or a very long time.
Yeah, and what's hilarious is we think about this and I'm thinking out loud here, and we make fun of institutions because they get out of a position when they start to lose more than 5%. We hold until we're like 95% down, and we just say that's a Tuesday.
Yeah, no, and then we buy the dip.
And we buy the dip.
Absolutely.
You know, but we have to remember, like, the amount of money that they're moving, that when they're down 5%, that's like a small nation's capital. You know, and one of the biggest things, I got to talk with some amazing banks and amazing people. Unfortunately, during the day one and stuff like that, you know, we're under Chatham House rules, which is basically a press blanket on not necessarily like censorship, but more of giving people the space and to be more open on their dialogue and talking and stuff.
Disclosure.
Yeah, in a way, you know, like you can talk about generalized concepts and who was there and stuff, but the idea is to have an open conversation that where they might be saying something that more aligns with them than their company, and they don't want to tie to the company or in some way, shape, or form, or hold it to, because they're talking about future ideas. And so it's an interesting aspect.
It's difficult to work for a big entity like that because these entities tend to have their own culture, their own identity, and you know, each person is individual and may have slightly different ways of thinking. When you like I said, the chatting rule there, you mentioned, it sort of does help to align the direction of a whole company.
Yeah.
You know, it's difficult when I've worked with really large organisations before, and it's really difficult to keep everything moving in the same direction.
Yeah. But you know, at the same time, it's also allows them to talk about what they're building, you know, that might not be approved yet, or they're waiting for regulation and stuff like that, without like preemptively getting them in trouble or something like that. But then at the same time, it's really interesting because we're seeing different institutions saying different things. There was one panel where one giant institution, was talking about more transparency is needed. That's what blockchain solves, and you know. And then the next panel, another big institution, almost like a competitor, was saying, "Oh, the institutions need privacy and, you know, private blockchains, and you know, they won't come because everything's open." I'm like, I'd rather have a panel of the two of them arguing. You know,
I don't think like there seems to be a lot of debate around private blockchains. I'm not sure that's the way forward, or I'm not sure that will be a big benefit to the world. I think public blockchains are the way forward.
I feel that there needs to be room for both.
Yeah.
For not necessarily private, but like private, like, you know, if you like medical bills. You know, you're paying your doctor, you know, institutions are making large moves for, you know, to buy something, you know, we don't want Jared from Subway.e to run a Mempop attack, you know, and like front run them on something, you know, because then they'll get pissed off and they'll dump it. And so I feel that there needs to be a certain amount of anonymity, not pseudo anonymity, you know, what we have now. And we ourselves work really hard to strip away anonymity from blockchain. How often do you post your address on Twitter, you know, or show off a PFP that has enough traits that I can go find your wallet address?
It's very easy to find people's because it's a lot easier than people think it is to do.
Yeah.
I think especially with the event of Arkham as well against tracking, and it really does highlight how public blockchains really are, because when we first started out in this space, it was, oh, it's anonymous, but this is absolutely not anonymous in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It's just anonymized,
yeah,
until, you know, it's not.
Yeah, and that's the idea behind it, is the traceability, the consistency, and the transparency of blockchain.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so, but it's an interesting aspect that one of the things that
speed as well.
Yeah.
With regards to tokenization, is the speed of being able to you know, trade those assets.
Yeah, and BlackRock just released their build tokenized, you know, fund and released that, and so you know, I'm gonna go try to buy some of that.
can you buy it? I don't know anything about it, to be honest.
Neither do I, other than it's in build.
Yeah,
You know,
that's how we've been able to see.
it's on Ethereum.
Was it really?
Yeah. I don't know if I can buy it on Uniswap, but you know, well,
Who knows?
I'll go forward. I'm just gonna go send them an NFT to their address. Yeah, you know.
And you've been sending all things to their addresses since the public, haven't they?
I assume so. Degens will be degens.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of those funny things to where one of this is gonna sound bad, and I'm not speaking. I'm not putting blanket statements on some of these companies because I know some of these companies have really smart people working with them. But it was really interesting to hear some of these institutions talking about how they're experts on blockchain, but then instead of saying like ETH, they were saying F. Or you know, how they were talking about smart contracts running on Bitcoin network, you know, and you know, and it's like they think, yeah, you know, like they scanned the memo that was sent to them for, you know, of talking points and stuff, and you know,
with public sector as well. You just choose the right person for the job and try and equip them with the information. No matter how big organisations do it,
yeah,
probably selected the best person to be able to speak, not the most knowledgeable person. So the thing is with big companies, they become experts by an accumulation of the knowledge that they've got within their employees.
Yeah.
That said, I remember 7 years ago when people were calling themselves experts in blockchain, when blockchain hadn't even been around enough for somebody to be an expert, because it takes, what, 10,000 hours before you are an expert in anything. So yeah, so there's always been problems.
If you've been around since hour one, yeah, and you've been there for all the hours.
Yeah,
I don't know. You know, but
it's not 10 years.
yeah. So it's interesting.
There's always going to be an element of that. I mean, if I said I'm not an expert about blockchain and then just went on to do a speech, you probably would switch off before I even started.
Oh, I totally love to watch that shit show. I've seen some of your talks. You actually give some really good talks because you do some really cool shit.
I do some really cool shit. Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, definitely. You know, NRG, for example, it's one of the. How many other blockchains do you know where there's a system where you can discount your transaction fees? How many blockchains do you know where there's a system where the fee system can be owned by the participants in the network? So, okay, so there's not many.
I'm sure there's more, but three off the top of my head.
Powerful blockchains, and Tron does really well in that respect. And the system we've created allows everyday users to earn from the transaction fees. And you know, obviously, I'm sure you're aware that Tron's got the largest amount of USDT on there, so there's a lot of transactions going on. There's a lot of opportunity. I think it's like $1 million a day earned. So that's the size of the market in regards to users, you know, selling their energy to cover fees. So this is really
weird how TRX still don't go up.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is definitely weird. I'm not sure if weird's the right word, but okay, the way I see it, so Tron is quite stable, and for a business to build or use a network, they need an amount of predictability. If fees were like Ethereum, one day the £10, $10, and the next day it's $150, you couldn't plan or forecast a bit like a real life business. So in the fees being stable, in the TRX being stable, it has seen an adoption of a lot of real world businesses. For example, in parts of the Middle East and Asia, there are a lot of money movers, and I know our systems are decentralized, and we have a lot of people who are using our system to discount their own transactions within their systems. So
yeah, no, I think Tron's doing some really cool things. You know, I'm literally wearing a Tron shirt today, so I wouldn't wear it if I didn't believe in it. And you know, but it's, you know, I see a lot of cool builders on it. One of the things I dislike about Tron is that it's so siloed from the rest of the world of blockchain.
It really is siloed. You know, have crafted out a large space for themselves in the emerging economies.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get rich really quickly, then I would strongly recommend you not come to Tron and go and find yourself some gamble on some meme token. But for as far as stability and use case goes, Tron killed it.
Yeah.
Tron actually killed it. They're the most, or one of the most used blockchains for real world uses.
Yeah, whether it's payment systems and acceptings of USDT, like businesses, I was told about like DevCon, like how all the businesses accept USDT Tron and stuff like that.
That's what the liquidity is.
Yeah.
And it gives, and what people don't really understand, they don't understand the energy system and they don't care to even look into it. But every participant of the network is potentially a seller or can gain from those fees. So all you got to do is be involved. So
you got energy and you got bandwidth.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
I mean, you can chase down meme tokens, and there are lots of different investment options for you out there in the world. But if you're looking for a stability and something that makes sense, then Tron is always, it's good to have some fingers in Tron.
A good wallet for someone to start off with Tron Link, right?
Yeah, Tron Link's a good wallet, or the NRG wallet, which is coming soon. It's going to get been released.
So it's not a good wallet. It's not out yet.
We're currently in a closed beta, but at the moment, yeah, Tron Link is the best wallet. Yeah. So if you're going, so a lot of people use Trust Wallet, but Trust Wallet doesn't support Tron really, like for the apps and things like that. So yeah. I'd probably just go straight for Tron Link.
Yeah. I think it's a really interesting piece, like there's like how much it's building out, and I wish that more in the Web3 gaming, participated in Tron and stuff like that. There's a couple of games on Tron and stuff like that, NFC Hero and like a horse racing game that I know of, but I know there's a handful more. The dexes and stuff like that are interesting. I'm sad that name services from like one of the companies got like went under and stuff like that. But
I think it wasn't really enough use, and it wasn't widely adopted by the apps as well.
Yeah.
It needs adoption from both sides for it to work.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I saw on the GoDaddy recently that the ENS are now integrated with GoDaddy.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. It's not, you could have said that this would happen 7 years ago. I guess that's
3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
A year ago. But what's really hilarious is GoDaddy's been building it for like 2 years silently.
Yeah.
And so I was at Denver when ENS announced like all of their partnerships and who's on the pipeline as well. It's just amazing stuff. Are you bullish or bearish on big institutions joining blockchain?
I am bullish, but I'm also a little bit sad as well, because I actually think that when the institutions have started coming in now, it's gonna change the dynamic of the space as we know it. We've been so used to having these cycles. I'm not saying the cycles will exist, but I'm saying they are going to look different from now on. If you've got pension funds buying into an asset class who typically aren't gonna sell at the drop of a hat, they hold for a very long time, and that's going to create a foundation of stability for BTC, and historically everything has followed BTC. So
and BTC is now being classified as an asset of value, so companies can take debt against it.
Yeah.
So it's bringing more stability to it and stuff, and so it's interesting.
It's very interesting how things go. This is the first asset class ever in history that has been adopted by people first before institutions. So we really are really like in every sense of the word.
Yeah. And I'd say we're about another 5 years early. Still time. So I know there's people that always feel like that, like, oh, it's too late now. I'm like, no, it's not.
For me, I've seriously become a bit of a maxi on Bitcoin over the last year. I really see its value, and like Saya said, the best time to buy Bitcoin was 5 years ago. It's always going to be that way, so just keep buying.
Yeah, and
savings account.
Yeah, but then it's one of those things where I also like people making fun of me because I sold my Bitcoin. Why? I sold it at profit. A store of value is only a store of value if you take value from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Until then, it's just a rock.
Yeah,
You know,
what's the point of having wealth if you can't use it to enrich your life? Because at the end of the day, you can't take any of that shit with you.
yeah.
You know,
What's one of your goals? So, with if do you think we're starting the bear market, or are we still in the bull? You know, or starting the bull market, or do you think we're still in the bear, or where do you think we're at?
I think we're definitely in a bull market now, but I think it came a little bit early. So as we go into the halving, we'll start to see the effects of that as well, and it's going to be one of the most violent and interesting bull markets I've certainly seen.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely going to be a bull market. We're in a bull market now, and it's going to continue for at least 12 to 18 months. What happens after that is anyone's guess.
Yeah, this will be my fourth cycle. You know, and I think it came earlier than predicted, just because of the ETF.
Absolutely.
And now we have the ETF being talked about. And what was really cool is all of the applications have been updated to add ETH staking. You know, and
that's going to be really interesting.
That means that these companies are going to be participating in the network.
Yeah.
They're not going to be looking at them as assets to just dump at the drop of a hat.
It's going to be something they can earn, a decent percentage of.
Yeah.
And like you say, 5% or whatever the percent is of their capital. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to see the stability partnerships and stuff like that come out of this. I don't know. I agree with you. I think we're starting on this bowl, and
either way, it's really exciting to be in this space.
Yeah.
Just to be part of it, and do you think to be like you report on it? The things that we're going through now, in hindsight, they're going to make films about. They're actually going to be. I think we've got 10 years. I see many films coming out about the things that we've all been part of, seen and done, and taken part of the rugs, the highs, the lows,
yeah,
good times, bad times, everything. It's just you can't make it up.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an amazing time. I think it's going to be fun. So one of the last things I wanted to touch on, and I just sort of saw it starting to make headway today. This might be out of your wheelhouse, but I don't know. You're pretty fucking smart. Is the Ethereum gas cap is being talked about being raised from 30 million to 40 million, because people are sort of saying like that'll make cheaper transactions because more blocks, more transactions have add 33% to daily volume and stuff like that. And do you think that that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing?
Honestly, I don't know what you're talking about, so it's completely out of my scope at the moment. But if you look at what happened with Bitcoin Cash, I mean, their whole principle was, or their whole idea was increasing the block size in order to provide a higher throughput. That didn't really work out too well. I think that was probably a cultural thing. I'm not sure how that would pan out, but one thing I do know for sure, if Ethereum do not get a handle on those fees, people are just going to stop using it.
Yeah,
it's getting ridiculous.
Well, see, I think Ethereum, like,
it's L2, so it's going to be L2.
Yeah, and that's where I think it's gonna. I think it's where we're heading that way. One of the closing panels yesterday was the 1000X podcast from Blockworks. Alan and Avi, I think, or Ari. I think are their names. Alan and Ari, I think. And I totally butchered both of your names, and I apologize. I know this. Both your names are wrong. I don't know why I'm saying them, but they were asked. One of the last questions they were asked was bullish or bearish on Solana and Ethereum and stuff like that. And they were like bullish on Solana and bearish on Ethereum. And I'm bullish on both. I think Ethereum will be used less at the application layer and more as a settlement layer, because it's turning into that heavy and clunky tank that just can't stop, won't be stopped, and will just keep rolling. But more data can be produced on it. We see now with blobs getting introduced with the Degen upgrade, and so I think
reduced feed on the L2s.
Yeah.
like temporary store of data.
Yep.
I think it is temporary as well. It's
Yep, 18 days.
also delivered.
Yep. And that's to keep the size of the state down and stuff like that, because there's so much information.
Yes, become manageable for
Yep.
nodes. But,
Yep.
I mean, that's the really interesting thing for me is how the data, with exponential growth of data, then we are going to head into a storage crisis at some point in the future, because we're now creating more data than we ever had. I mean, even in the last couple of years, we've created more data than we have in the entire history of the human existence. And as we move forward, it's really becoming expensive, and that's where I think decentralized data storage is going to become a big focus in the space.
Yeah.
Because it's got a real use case. Sorry, I just went off on one.
No, I agree with you totally, and I talk about that like with decentralized edge computing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, Gollum, CPU coin, render, remix, Morpheus.
Yeah, has access to this kind of processing power, and as we move towards an AI-powered world, there are a couple of things that are really important. That's processing power and data storage to train the models on. And if that data is owned by the few and not decentralized, accessible by the many, it becomes a monopoly again, and we're just seeing monopolization of powerful tools like in Facebook, Google, and things like that.
No, you're hitting the nail right with the hammer, you know. So it's right there, man. So you know, man, thanks for coming out here. You know,
Thanks for making the time to see me.
yeah, definitely.
My days are quite, I've got an office again, and I'm pretty much focused on building our application solutions. And weeks can pass. I'm filling this box. I'm like, oh my god! So it's really nice to get out, come to the city, see you. So I appreciate the info. Thank you.
No, definitely. If you guys want to see what Mo is building, please check out tronNRG.com. Yeah.
All
And
information on there. It's got sports actually. Just read about it, find out about it. Learn about the Tron fee system and see if you can fit into that. And if not, then thanks for looking.
yeah, definitely. And where can people find you on Twitter?
At MoStarDev, that's me personally, and then at TronNRG is our Twitter handle.
Yeah, and so that is MoStarDev for the algorithm. And Tron, TronNRG, also on Twitter. And so, like, I can spell,
Good.
So, as we end every episode, we end with two things: final thoughts, words of wisdom, and the best worst not joke on the face of the planet.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh yeah, I got you covered. So, 10 seconds. Final thoughts, words of wisdom.
I wonder if the train's going to be delayed on the way home.
That's the final thought. Any words of wisdom?
Sort of caught me off guard a little bit there. So I don't really have any wisdom or words of wisdom. Just keep grinding.
Just keep grinding.
Just keep grinding.
All right, yeah. And as always, I've now said this 578 times. I've now said this 579 times. But my final thoughts and words of wisdom are: a closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth. Meaning, if no one knows you're looking for opportunity can never come a knocking. If opportunity does come knocking and no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. Don't miss the train.
Had your whole thing arranged, and then I just said some stupid shit.
Just keep grinding. It's a big thing. At least you didn't say do your own research.
No, that's ridiculous.
All right. Shout out and love to Liam, and any shout outs or loves to anyone?
Just to the blockchain and the Web3 space.
Blockchain love and Web3 space love. And with that, we get to end with the greatest worst not joke on the face of the planet. Are you ready for this? This is the pretty awesome joke. Are you ready?
I'm not doing the joke.
I'm doing it.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So, are you ready for it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Knock knock.
Who's that?